Friends, whenever we talk about those Hollywood films that showcase the underwater world in such a terrifying way that it sent shivers down the audience's spine, the name that stands right at the top of that list is the Meg series. And to be honest, if the Meg hadn't released in 2018, maybe it would have taken us much longer to realize that no matter how advanced technology becomes, when nature shows its true power, humans are nothing in front of it. The Meg reminded us once again of how dangerous the oceans must have been millions of years ago, when creatures like the Megalodons swam freely, giant sharks bigger than today's largest whales, creatures so terrifying that no animal of that era could ever feel safe in their presence. The film begins deep in the ocean, where a research team is conducting an experiment, and suddenly they come face to face with a creature that science had declared extinct millions of years ago. That creature was none other than the Megalodon, the biggest shark the world has ever known. And that's when Jason Statham makes his entry, playing the role of Jonas Taylor, a rescue diver whose past is filled with such deadly missions, and who has already faced the dangers that lurk in the deep. Jonas Taylor is called in when the research team gets trapped, and from there begins a journey more dangerous than death itself, where mankind is forced to face the raw and merciless power of nature. When the film hit theaters in 2018, hardly anyone thought it would become such a massive hit. With a budget of about $130 million, it went on to earn over $530 million worldwide. Imagine that, a shark movie becoming such a huge blockbuster, something no one expected, especially since Hollywood had already given us classics like Jaws and several other shark movies that followed, most of which failed miserably. But the Meg proved that if you present the story on a massive scale with spectacular VFX, combined with Jason Statham's raw action, audiences will definitely show up to watch. Then came 2023, when the second part, Meg 2, The Trench, was released. This movie took things a step further, shocking audiences once again, because this time it wasn't just one Megalodon, it was several of them. And not only that, but even stranger, deadlier creatures emerged from the deep. Jason Statham returned once again as Jonas Taylor, but this time the story took an even more dangerous turn. The film also introduced Chinese superstar Wu Jing, which helped it gain even more global attention. The story of Meg 2 begins with a research mission into the deeper part of the ocean called the Trench. The team believes they've uncovered the secrets of the ocean's depths, but what they actually find is a threat to humanity. So great that stopping it seems almost impossible. This time, not one but 3 giant megalodons emerge, along with other prehistoric creatures that break free and begin attacking humans. The movie delivered some breathtaking sequences that had audiences gripping their seats inside theaters. Jason Statham's character was even more powerful this time. His action, his rage, and his signature dialogue delivery style made the movie all the more entertaining. What stood out was that this time the film was directed by Ben Wheatley, who gave it a darker and more thrilling tone. Even though Meg 2 received mixed reviews from critics, audiences loved it, and that's the reason why, with a budget of around $130 million, the film still managed to gross over $400 million worldwide. And friends, this is exactly where the real story begins, with Meg 3. Because when a movie becomes successful at the box office not once but twice in a row, the next installment is almost inevitable. After the success of the Meg and Meg 2, all eyes are now on when Meg 3 will arrive, what new things it will bring, and whether Jason Statham will once again face the terrifying beast of the ocean. If you look closely, the ending of Meg 2 itself hinted that the story wasn't over yet. The film made it clear that the trench, that deep and mysterious part of the ocean, has still not been fully explored, and that it hides secrets so dangerous that if they ever rise to the surface, humanity could be wiped out, This very clue forms the foundation for Meg 3, and it's the reason fans are more excited than ever. Jason Statham himself has said in interviews that if audiences want it, and if there's a solid script, he would definitely return for Meg 3. And honestly, the truth is that this franchise feels incomplete without him. He's the face of the Meg series, the reason people recognize it, and his presence has been the backbone of its massive box office success. First of all, if we talk about the story, the ending of Meg 2 made it very clear that the mysteries hidden deep inside the trench are far from over. There are still creatures down there that mankind has never even seen before, and if they ever make their way to the surface, they could pose a threat to the entire world. Meg 2 showed us 3 Megalodons, but the film also hinted that it might not just be one family or one pack. There could be a lot more. That's why fans strongly believe that in Meg 3 we might witness an entire colony of Megalodons, dozens of giant sharks attacking humans together in one massive spectacle. But friends, the story doesn't stop at just Megalodons. If you noticed, Meg 2 also introduced us to other prehistoric monsters, like a giant octopus and strange creatures from the deep. Now imagine Meg 3 taking this even further. Maybe this time we'll see a monster even more powerful than a Megalodon. Think about it. If the film introduces something like a massive sea dragon or an ancient marine dinosaur that actually battles the Megalodon itself, what an incredible and explosive sequence that would be. Not only would it excite fans beyond imagination, but it would also push the franchise to a whole new level. Now, if we focus on Jason Statham's character, Jonas Taylor, it wouldn't be wrong to say that his role in Meg 3 is going to be more intense than ever. In Meg 1, he appeared as a professional diver. In Meg 2, he not only saved humans, but also fought off deep-sea creatures on his own. And in Meg 3, he might have to go to the extreme, facing dozens of Megalodons at once. Jason Statham's action style, his daring nature, and his fearless attitude are the soul of this franchise, and that's why fans' expectations for Meg 3 have doubled already. Now let's talk about the possible release date of the film. So far, Warner Bros. Hasn't made any official announcement regarding Meg 3, but according to Hollywood reports, the script is already in development, and chances are high that the film might hit theaters by 2026 or 2027. There was a 5-year gap between Meg 1 and Meg 2, but this time the studio won't want to make audiences wait that long, especially when the fan following of the series has grown tremendously. That's why the expectation is that Meg 3 will arrive on the big screen within the next 2 years. If we look at the budget, Meg 1 had a budget of around $130 million, and Meg 2 was made with a similar cost. But Meg 3 is expected to have a much bigger budget, because now the film will be made on an even larger scale, with more advanced VFX, multiple Megalodons, and brand new prehistoric monsters. Industry speculation suggests that the budget of Meg 3 could be anywhere between $180 million to $200 million, making it the most expensive shark movie in Hollywood history. As for the star cast, Jason Statham's presence is almost guaranteed, because without him, this franchise feels incomplete. Along with him, Wu Jing could also return, since he delivered an excellent performance in Meg 2 and has a huge fan following in China, which also strengthens the film's global reach. Shuya Sophia Kai might also reprise her role to keep the emotional connection alive. Apart from them, the rest of the cast will only be confirmed after the official announcement, but one thing is certain. Meg 3 will definitely introduce some new faces to make the story even more engaging. And now comes the biggest question. How much can Meg 3 earn at the box office? Friends, Meg 1 earned $530 million worldwide, and Meg 2 collected around $400 million. If Meg 3 is made on a grander scale, and if Jason Statham's popularity is used to its fullest, The film can easily collect between $600 to $700 million. And if audiences connect with the story and the visuals, this number could even touch the $1 billion mark, because today global audiences are heavily supporting big franchise films like this. The biggest plus point of Meg 3 will be that it's not just another monster movie. It will become a global cinematic event. It will take us into an underwater world that we can only imagine, making us realize that even though humans have reached the moon and Mars, we still know so little about the depths of our own oceans. And it is in those very depths where secrets lie hidden that could change our world forever if they were ever to come out. Friends, Meg 3 is not just a film. It's going to push our curiosity, our fear, and our imagination beyond its limits. It will remind us how vast nature truly is and how small humans are in front of it. Jason Statham's power-packed action, Hollywood's cutting-edge technology, and the audience's love together will make Meg 3 a blockbuster that no one will want to miss.